We came here and we went to fight for the United States. If we can fight for them, why can't they fight for us Vietnam veterans?
I hope that my dad will be remembered for the sacrifice that he made.
All right, what's one there? All right, give me some cover.
I used to be scared, thinking that one day we would get a phone call that he had been killed.
The National Chicano Moratorium Committee, along with all the major Chicano organizations, planned and prepared for a large, lawful, and peaceful demonstration to protest the injustices that the war has brought on the Chicano community. The disproportionate death of Chicanos in Vietnam, for every Anglo that dies, proportionately 3 Chicanos die in Vietnam. This is supposed to be free America, but not this way. We're organizing against what we term genocide. In the war in Vietnam, where thousands of our young men are dying. This is the power that we have as a raza.
My name is Rosa Vasquez. I'm the sister of Jesus Santiago Duran, and we migrated from Mexico. When we were kids, we wouldn't dare go downtown by ourselves, What Jesus did, he made himself a shoe shine box. That was his job, shoe shining. He was a very brave boy.
I am the daughter of Jesus Duran, who was an immigrant from Mexico. I'm grateful my grandfather decided to bring his family to Riverside.
All farm jobs, which are tough, dirty, or unpleasant, are the only area in which the American farm labor supply falls short and is supplemented by Mexican citizens, sometimes called nationals or Mexican nationals. But the term most commonly used is braceros.
The Bracero program was framed as an emergency labor program, an agreement between the United States and Mexico to offer work contracts to Mexican workers who would come into the United States and return when that work contract was up. It was something that a lot of employers wanted in the United States. There were a lot of benefits for Mexicanos who chose to come. Their families might have gotten a little bit more money. The Mexican nation got the benefit of workers that might be trained in more modern techniques. For many, it was a sense of adventure that took them to another country.
When my dad brought us here, that was hard for me.
Well, with Americans on relief rolls, why bring in foreigners? Doesn't the farmer realize he's cutting down American labor, cutting down our living standards?
The Bracero program is not exceptional. Braceros were notoriously underpaid. Wherever braceros went to work, they were often working in industries where just the decade before, during the Great Depression, there had been a massive amount of labor unrest.
We are asking for a general strike. We are not only asking for it, but we're going to get it.
Now those employers didn't have to worry because as soon as a bracero complained, as soon as a bracero asked for more rights as a worker, they could simply have their contract terminated and be sent back to Mexico. The United States is always in a love-hate relationship with its immigrant populations, with one hand saying, please come, and with the other hand saying, you're forbidden to come.
Few people would call us names because we were from Mexico. They used to call us the mojados, like wet bags.
Man, here come the cops. Let's go.
Why should we? What have we done?
All right. What are you up to now? Always bothering someone.
What are you picking on him for? He wasn't doing anything.
All right, break it up then.
Why the heck should we?
Yeah.
Look, wetback, you want to go home or do you want to go to jail?
I never let nobody put me down because where I came from. I was never that kind of person to let anybody call me names. I would beat them up, even if they were boys.
Latinos who are born at the time that World War II is ending are being raised in a very particular kind of United States, where very strong messages of patriotism in that struggle against the Soviet Union are part of everyday life.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible.
The Cold War is part of their Sunday church services. It's part of their daily rituals at school. It's part of the movies that they're watching. It's part of the TV programs that they're visiting and spending time with at home. They give them ideas about who they are as people, what their relationship is to the world, and what their sense of duty and obligation is to a larger country.
But entering the service is also a responsibility. Now, here in America, the bulk of our military power is made up of citizen soldiers, like you. People serving their country where and when they're required. That's his privilege, as well as his duty.
Người đồng bào cả nước, tất cả mọi người đều sinh ra có quyền bình đẳng, tạo hóa cho họ những quyền không ai có thể xâm phạm được.
It is my duty to the American people to report that renewed hostile actions have today required me to order the military forces of the United States to take action in reply.
I don't remember exactly how many uncles were all drafted at that time. My father was working in a packing house and his number came up and he went.
For immigrants who are brand new to the country, participation in the military is a pathway towards their inclusion into the national body, to see themselves as that soldier, that defender of democracy.
Jesus left Riverside in May to do his basic training.
Basic training was very much basic. We don't have any real jungles in the United States, so it's hard to do that in our country. Massive amounts of rain and water and rice paddies, and that was a huge factor in why we lost soldiers, especially at the beginning of the war. Things that occurred over there could have been prevented if we would have understood that country a little bit better.
I had not heard of Vietnam. When I studied in school, it was Indochina or Siam. when we were aboard ship. They gave us live ammo and hand grenades and everything. We knew something was going on. We landed at Chulai. We put a perimeter around a big place there for the Seabees. While they worked, we protected them.
Okay. So many Chicanos are disproportionately serving and disproportionately dying in the war.
I joined the protesters in my teen years because there were so many young people dying.
Chicanos are marching to protest the high casualty rate of our people in Vietnam. We have suffered 22% of all casualties in Vietnam, yet we only make up 5% of the total population here in the United States.
The Vietnam War is an inseparable part of a Mexican-American civil rights movement, what we call the Chicano movement.
We are a bronze people with a bronze culture. Before the world, before all of North America, before all our brothers on this bronze continent, we are a nation. We are a union of free pueblos.
This is a moratorium. This is for La Raza, yes to us, and to the world to see. Because today is a day of history for all of La Raza, wherever they are. Throughout Latin America, throughout Mexico, wherever brown people exist, today is a day of history. And from this day on, La Raza Mexicana shall be history.
The history of Chicanos and Latinos in the Vietnam War is not just the history of those men, it's also the story of their families.
Honey, de lo que me dices de nuestro baby, pues estoy muy contento. Estoy pensando en tú y en nuestra baby, que irá a ser niño o niña.
While their fathers, sons, brothers were thousands of miles away on the other side of the world, it's their families living with war in a different way, but still very, very powerful and very intimate.
Yo vi nada ese día y no te imaginas cómo me mojó y te estaba haciendo un frío de la chingada, pero me aguanté como un bien hombre.
No matter what their job was, they brought with them their communities.
Nuestro hijo, él va a ser chingón como su padre.
turned out to be a girl. I would think my dad was fearful to leave his family, but he stood up and he went.
I used to be scared, thinking that one day we would get a phone call that he had been killed,
I'm scared too. I'd like to be home with my wife.
You know that they're...
Come again?
You know that they're out there waiting for you?
I know they're out there, but as far as you can't see them.
The war helps to sharpen the critique that the Chicano movement offers. Not to criticize the soldier who was fighting, but instead to criticize the country that was sending them off to fight. These young people are coming of age. They're seeing their own community paying the ultimate sacrifice for this country. And that highlights the glaring distance between their reality and the promise and possibility of this country. And that frames their politics in a lot of ways.
What was happening at home did transition into the military. There was a lot of racism and segregation and disparities within the units themselves. Like, hey, who's going to be on point? Well, let's make, PFC Sanchez over here, he's not worth anything, or I'm not going to risk my life. Created a lot of conflict, and that's why it ended up being so traumatic.
In reality, the rights which people think that they have are no longer really there. The rights which they supposedly thought they had, hopefully as a result of this inquest, they will understand that as Chicanos, they really have very few, and they must begin to look to themselves.
The Chicano Moratorium is the largest protest event of the entire Chicano movement. Tens of thousands of families were in the streets of East Los Angeles marching to bring their sons and brothers home. The LA Sheriff's Department turned what was fairly peaceful political gathering of community members into something of its own domestic melee.
Our people is being raised in a white person's mind as a stereotype. How the hell are we going to grow up and become anything if the white people keep pushing into our minds that we're nothing but a bunch of Frito banditos?
August 29th became a symbol of the kind of war that Chicanos and Chicanas faced even in their own homes.
They were a reconnaissance unit where they would go to search before everybody else would come in. This picture was taken on the morning of April 10th, 1969, a morning that they didn't know what lay ahead of them.
People just don't understand. You think, I'll go to war and I'll kill them. It's not that you're going to be a John Wayne and go out there and kill everybody. You're getting shot at, too.
I think the feeling of disparity was always there. Like, this is going to be a rough tour, or this is going to be all right. Am I going to make it home or am I not?
We're fighting Vietnamese in their country, and they know how to fight it, and they know how to survive out there. It was bad for us.
That morning, there were bombs being dropped, and they went on a search and rescue. They had gotten into a tunnel, an L-shaped tunnel, and when they went in, they were able to see that some of the Viet Cong were still close by. The Viet Cong had sensed that Americans were coming in. There was a medic that was hit, and they were going to be overrun. My dad came up to the front.
All right, who's wounded? All right, give me some cover.
My dad jumped on a hill, started firing.
Jesus' outfit was pinned down. They couldn't move, and they were getting shot up. They were getting beat.
There were 22 other men, and all of the men from that platoon carried bullets for the M60, and they were just feeding it to him.
With that machine gun, he was shooting at them, and everybody was shooting at him. And it's not so easy when something's coming right by you. You hear them bullets coming. The rest of his platoon got up and helped him out. But he had already done a lot of damage out there. He went out and did it, and he didn't even get wounded. Somebody was looking out for him.
My dad held them at bay, and even though it sounds so short, 5 hours is a really long time to be in a firefight. They were doing their job, fighting for this country, and I'm glad they made it home because of his actions.
We were so happy that he was back home, you know. It was a surprise for us. It was a surprise for us. We didn't know when he was coming home. The newspaper started putting articles about my brother. He was very well known.
When I got back from Vietnam, they flew us into the Marine Corps Air Station there. We went to the main gate there, and a lot of us were going home. We were out.
There was a lot of anxiety involved in coming back here, because we came back to a country that had changed its mind, and we got lost in the cracks.
When they come back from war, the experience of Vietnam veterans is not one of inclusion.
I went to Vietnam in September of 1969, and during the time that I was there, I went through certain experiences that led me into using drugs.
They struggled along with their friends, along with their families, to find pathways towards being better without any kinds of help from the U.S. government to reintegrate themselves into society, to help them deal with the kinds of psychological trauma that occur because of war.
I buried my best friend right before I left. I was a military escort for him. And I said, there has to be a reason for this. There has to be. I have to see it myself. And I went, and due to my discouragement, I found out that there is no reason.
When you kill somebody, it's not something you get over very easy. I got out, I was 20 years old, a battle-scarred Marine veteran, you know. I had been to the war. I couldn't even buy a beer legally.
You're supposed to be the best of the best, or you're the Army, or you're this guy that's seen combat. You're not supposed to kind of show that. You're not supposed to have those feelings. So they internalized a lot of it. It was a lot for any young man, any 19-year-old. How do you ask our young to carry that?
When you're over there, it's not a question of war. It's a question of whether you're going to come back alive.
The war is an event that has a long-term and enduring impact in your daily life. It becomes the other war that they have to fight, which is the war of the traumatic experience and effect. Veterans have survivor's guilt, often post-traumatic stress disorder, an entire range of emotional and even physical kinds of consequences of their time in war.
I'm not disloyal to this country. I love this country. But I hate the things that we're doing in the name of liberty and justice and democracy.
He changed completely. I don't know, whatever he went through over there in Vietnam, he never talked about it, really. He didn't like talking about that.
This generation is having to improvise their ways towards healing, towards solving those struggles for themselves. Many don't do that in healthy ways.
This is probably all SIDS and we're getting busted, but I don't care.
Most of them transitioning, they found their vices. They looked to release that, to get away from it. So it was, the drinking started, the domestic abuse started to rise.
Why don't you hit her, man?
They started seeing veterans just kind of fall off and get into drugs.
I got on the alcohol, drugs, and I was very disagreeable with people when they tell me a baby killer, and I'd let them have it. I would fight. I got in a lot of trouble. I got put in jail. I couldn't get over this thing for a while. In my dreams, I was still in Vietnam, waking up, you know. At night, we'd get attacked sometimes. You have to sleep very lightly.
So you didn't want to be falling asleep, but yet you wanted to sleep, but then you were afraid to sleep. And this was really a heavy trip because it gets really strung out. You know, your mind functions so fast and your body gets so worn out, but yet you keep on going, you know.
Anything that makes a little noise, you're up and you're ready.
It starts with something small and it triggers. And once that happens, it just snowballs.
My wife suffered some because she'd roll over and touch me, and I'd grab her by the neck sometimes. You know, I had to get over that. But I was protecting myself, you know, and I didn't know it.
That has an effect on the family because now you're not communicating with your wife because you're angry. And why are you angry? Because you have these memories, you have this traumatic event. And usually what ends up happening is it manifests in different ways. When there is PTSD, especially connected to combat, there is like a residual or like secondhand PTSD.
War is a family experience. It's the veteran who goes, but it's something that affects the lives of everybody who knows and loves them.
The United States ain't doing nothing for us, man. We busted our ass, we went over there to an army to kill, and 99% of us got killed, and we didn't get nothing for it. They give us a piece of paper that says to us, we're Vietnam veterans, and we can get disability, and we can get this, and we can get a job, and we ain't got nothing to get our welfare. You understand? Am I angry? Sure, I'm angry. We came here and we went to fight for the United States. And why the fuck? Why can't we have the same benefits that the United States people have? Why do we have to suffer? If we can fight for them, why can't they fight for us Vietnam veterans?
Hurts a lot. I can't feel that, Max. I can't fucking feel that. Hurts a lot. I can't feel it. Hurts a lot. I can't feel it. It hurts a lot. I can't feel it.
Many veterans find a professional home for themselves inside of jobs that feel like the military. It's not a surprise that so many Latino Vietnam vets become police officers or prison guards.
Let's go, single file, stop over here. Stop over there, near that radiator. Single file. Oh, that had to get to it. Let's go, follow the sergeant.
They didn't hire too many Chicanos at that time. It was mostly white people, gabachos. And I went and applied for a job at the probation department, and he says, yeah, but we got long hair. They're not gonna hire us. Are you Chicano? I don't think. I said, well, let's go. Why not? You're highly decorated, me too. Why can they deny us? We're Vietnam veterans. And we broke the ice for the raza right there. We broke the ice, and we got on at probation.
The way Michael phrases it is they were two Chicanos with long hair that came back from the war, and they were hired not based on their education, they were hired on their experience in the war.
He helped a lot of people. The first year that he started working for the probation department, they gave him a lot of toys for the kids in the neighborhood. He came with the trunk of his car. He started giving everybody the stuff they gave him.
The connection between serving your country and serving your community, you find out there's a bigger purpose. So Sergeant Duran, for him was, hey, I can go be a corrections officer and I can help, right? Because if there's a disparity in the military, then that means in my community there's a disparity. He saw it where it's just like, hey, there's a lot more Latinos locked up than you see this other class, right? What he was really trying to do was help his community out to make sure that they're being safe.
I think he did like that job because he always looked like he was happy.
We had a good time together. Good friend, very good friend. We got along very well. We go drink a few beers at the bar, then go home. We were both married. It was mixed, Mexican-Americans and a few gringos, but mostly raza. We never had a problem there. We played pool, and everybody kind of knew each other. We were from the same town. A lot of people were there. Somebody, I don't know if it was from out of town or what happened, but later I heard he was trying to break up a fight. That's the way I heard it. And they got him.
When I go visit my dad, I really try to be happy, but inside I'm sad. Sometimes it's on his anniversary, and sometimes I go for Father's Day, and so many questions left unanswered, just robbed of our time together. My dad's been gone 43 years, and I don't believe the grieving process is ever truly over. For his 40th anniversary, I had a mass, and I had that mass, I think, mostly for me. I needed to process everything that's taken place, make peace with the fact that he's not here. It's really hard.
It took her a really long time to figure out who he was and how to come to terms with it.
I cannot put together how he felt about coming to this country. I cannot put together what he felt when he met my mom, what he felt having a child, and his time in Vietnam, and how he felt being home after his service.
I'm positive Sergeant Duran wanted nothing but the best for Tina, but she did struggle with it. She is able to understand that portion of it now, but she does wish she had more with him. It was hard for her, and I understand that.
I got to meet men that served with my dad, and I got to learn that my dad was just a good guy.
That was one of those funerals that you don't see every day. There was so many people accompanied us.
After Jesus passed away, I never went back in that bar. I had good memories of him. I wanted to remember the good memories of Chuy.
You know, why wasn't he at home? Why was he at the bar on a Thursday night? Wasn't in my dad's plans, I'm sure, to not make it home that night.
It is 10 o'clock. Polls have just closed in another 4 states. Let's start with Iowa, where President Trump is locked in a close race with former Vice President Joe Biden. According to our decision desk, it's too early to project a winner in Iowa. The other state we're watching very closely at this hour is Nevada, where our vote analysis shows Biden ahead of Trump at the moment.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
The UN demands President Trump stop separating families that illegally cross the border. But here's a radical idea. How about we demand these families stop crossing the border illegally? Then they won't be separated. It's pretty simple.
these waves of people coming in. You just see that this country is being radically transformed, that this transformation of societies and cultures is the most important thing happening today. I mean, you could call it the Great Erasure. I mean, it is a radical transformation of the white world. We just have to say, this is not your country. You might very well be a wonderful person. You might very well have something to give to the world, but this is ours, and it's not yours. So we can respect you, but you're not going to come here.
I think my father's story represents the diversity in this country.
You look at the history of the United States, migration was necessary for it to continue to grow and flourish.
We're right next door to our culture. You know, it isn't like having to go back overseas or sailing the Pacific or the Atlantic to visit the people that you come from or that you stem from. The people that we stem from, whether they're blood relatives or even vaguely related to us, are there. They have our name. They have our culture.
We are here to express to you that it's good to be Mexican, a principle that may govern our city without barbed wire in the middle of the street.
Migrants that are coming in and are going to college, they're bettering themselves. They come here to do something, make something of their lives.
There's this really negative picture on immigrants. Here we have a champion. Sergeant Duran, did you know this about us?
I had always known my dad had done something in Vietnam, but it was a surprise to find out that he was going to be recognized as a Medal of Honor recipient.
Tina Duran Rubalcaba. Accepting on behalf of her father, Specialist 4 Jesus S. Duran. Specialist 4 Jesus S. Duran distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity above and beyond the call of duty while serving as an acting M60 machine gunner during combat operations against an armed enemy in the Republic of Vietnam on April 10, 1969. Specialist 4 Duran's extraordinary heroism and selflessness above and beyond the call of duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon himself, his unit, and the United States Army.
Been invited to the White House for this momentous occasion. It was so surreal. I was sad that my dad wasn't alive to receive this himself. I hope to be able to represent him well.
It just gives me chills to see one of our sons of Riverside celebrated and recognized by the President of the United States.
The Medal of Honor is the highest citation you can get in the military. That's the highest honor you can get.
It took 40 years for him to get his Medal of Honor. It's a story that represents just resiliency, drive, and determination.
To receive the Medal of Honor means you're putting yourself into harm's way for others. There's no higher cause than to give your life for somebody else.
I hope that my dad will be remembered for the sacrifice that he made coming from another country and coming to fight for this country.
The United States, by design, is about certain political values, not a nation of just one people who live in a common place and have a common cultural history. And that means who is American is always a choice. Immigrants connect us back to that original principle. In one way of looking at it, they are more American than those of us who are born in the United States because they have made the choice to be part of this country. The United States still struggles to fully recognize us as equals, as people who are choosing to come to a place and to make it better. In many ways, Duran's life and his legacy should be at least one reminder that Latinos are part of this United States and that they're part of this long American story, often making it stronger, often advancing it forward. And I hope that's how this country learns to think of us collectively.